is up, guys? Welcome to the Casual Wrestling Community Show. This is an open invitation show where anyone from the community can jump in and talk pro wrestling with us each and every Thursday live on TikTok and YouTube. The show is simple. Each guest brings a unique topic for discussion for everybody to chime in on. I am watching the YouTube chat. Lauren, are you going to be watching the TikTok chat?
Oh, yeah, I'll look at it on my phone.
Okay, Lauren's watching the TikTok chat, and Wavy D will be giving us his expert analysis on our topics today. Little housekeeping before we jump into the show. Casual Wrestling Fantasy League sign up closes on Friday. If you want to get in that, go ahead and jump into the Discord, and there's a room specifically set up for that where you can let us know if you want to be a part of it. And the Bash at Berlin VIP watch party is August 31st. We will be watching the main event, and we're calling it the Fall of Gunther. I know Wavy D is still a Gunther guy. I think we may convert him though. I see him wavering.
I'm on the verge of converting. You guys got me. I'm on the verge.
Yeah,
I can't hear him.
You can't hear him?
Mm-mm.
You can't hear him at all?
Mm-mm. Can you hear him?
Uh-huh.
I hear both you guys.
You don't hear it?
No.
Are your headphones turned up?
Yeah. Are your headphones turned up?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's weird. I don't know why you can't hear him.
I don't know.
Do you have? You might have to go find some other headphones.
All right.
So you can come back. We'll keep going though.
All right, y'all go.
All right. So I'll start with my topic first, and then Lauren, you can chime in when you get back. My topic today is if you could go back to any point in time in wrestling, Wavy D, and erase something that has happened, what moment would you go back to and why?
So, does it have to be like on TV wrestling stuff or stuff that happened in the world that affects the wrestling world?
I think anything. I think you could do anything.
All right. So, I guess to break it into two categories. Something that happened like on TV that I would change. For the greater good of the wrestling fandom, I would have had Booker T go over Triple H at WrestleMania. That's for the greater good. I mean, I wasn't watching wrestling at that point, so that doesn't affect me personally.
You're just doing a favor to the world.
Exactly. And for me personally, something that I would have changed was I would have put the Nexus over and had them beat John Cena. I think that definitely would have helped put the Nexus over, and those guys would have been a lot bigger individually and as a group. And then the second part of the question, something that happened in real life that affected the wrestling world, was the whole redacted situation. You know, Mr. Chris B.
Yeah.
If Mr. Chris B didn't do what he did, and he got the help that he needed, and didn't go down that path, I feel like the wrestling world would be a whole lot different, because I don't know if you know, but that directly impacted Vince McMahon getting written off of television. Do you remember?
Yes.
Episode Raw when he got in a limousine and exploded.
Yes.
So he was trying to write himself off of TV, but then like a week or two later, that's when the Chris B stuff happened, and Vince had to acknowledge it publicly and everything, and had to acknowledge it on the show, and so he had to come back, and he couldn't stay written off. He wanted to write himself off of TV.
Yeah,
take a backseat role.
That's interesting. I see. That's a route I didn't think about going. Was affected like because I guess we could go the Bray Wyatt situation, right? You could change that. That's interesting. I think for me, and this almost sounds silly after the going serious, like keeping Bray Wyatt alive or the Chris Benoit situation. But to me, I think it's Big E. If I could go back in time, I would want to fix that. Like that, such an insignificant moment, having that happen to ruin Big E's career. I think he's somebody who had so much ahead of him.
Yes,
there was so much more for Big E to do, and we just in a flash of a moment we lost him, and it really affected to me what the New Day is today and what they could have been. Because I think there's a world for me where New Day is the greatest tag team of all time. And I think that they're going to be remembered just short of that because of that moment.
Yeah, that's very true. That's definitely a big
Is he talking?
possibility.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you got New Day,
Can you hear?
Usos.
You can't hear anything?
Nope. Change the
Oh,
headphones out too. There, I heard him a little bit.
Oh, hello. Hey, Lauren.
Now I can hear him. I don't know
Now
what
you
you
can
did,
hear?
what magic voodoo you did, but
Hold on. I've got to change. If we're going to do it this way, then I've got to...
Wavy D, I'm not going to lie. I was looking at the TikTok real quick, and I was like,
This should be working now.
I had like a flash moment was like, when did my brother get on?
You did, oh, he does. Wavy D, you do look a little bit like Lauren's brother.
You kind of look like my brother.
Craig, right?
Yeah.
That's
Now,
funny.
I do hear myself echoing a little bit in your thing. Well,
So
as far
you
as
may
stream
get a little bit of an echo, but it's not going to be coming through. That's going to be Streamlabs.
Okay, perfect. As
So-
long as it's not on your stream.
Yeah, no. It should be coming through clear because now you're only coming through the mixer. You're not coming through Streamlabs. So you're getting yourself back from us.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's fine.
Okay.
Actually, if I hit this, maybe will anything happen? No. Okay, but so you have New Day and Usos, which is the big debating point between tag teams nowadays in modern wrestling. So if Big E never got taken out, I do think that New Day would have a stronger case of being the best tag team of the modern era. You know, I look at them above the Hardys, Edge and Christian. The only team from that trio that I think could compete with today's roster is the Dudley Boys. They were such a great tag team. Edge and Christian were good, but they were also way better than their own. And then Matt and Jeff, I think we adore them more for the pop culture impact and the high spots that they did. But as far as tag team wrestling, I don't think that they were a step above the rest.
I agree with you. I'm with you on that. Where do you put the Usos on that list?
Oh, okay. So I have Usos number 1 all time.
Same here. That's what I was wondering.
I'd probably say Usos, Dudleys, then New Day.
I'm fair. That's fair. I think that's definitely fair. I think, like I said, I think the New Day had Big E stuck around. I don't think there was ever the need to break them up as a trio if Big E was still here. I mean, he's still here.
Yeah,
He's gone. He's not gone, but you know what I mean. If he was still wrestling.
R.I.P. Big E.
The question was, Lauren, if you could go back in time and erase one single event that's happened in wrestling, what would you go back and change?
You really want to know?
Yeah, I mean, this could be anything. It can be as deep as you want. It can be as silly as you
I
want.
really liked RK Bro.
So you want to go back and fix
Yes.
Riddle?
I'm gonna stop Riddle from being crazy at the airport and getting kicked out of WWE.
Man, Riddle. Riddle's an interesting
bad.
cat because all this stuff has come out about Roman wanting to whoop Riddle's ass.
Really? Why?
There's just a bunch of stories that I guess Roman and Riddle really had some problems with each other, and
Not
so
RK Bro.
yeah, so that's and they had that big kind of story on SmackDown, so that's interesting.
I think maybe there was like
okay.
real animosity there sometimes, like where he was like annoyed.
I guess it feels like you got to kind of be an asshole to piss Roman off because Roman seems pretty chill.
From what I gathered, Matt Riddle he was very confident backstage because, he gets pops and he gets cheered everywhere. That I feel like he really thought he was more over than not over than he was, but more over than the company wanted to push him.
Yeah,
And that he felt that he could take on any superstar and he could get over on anybody.
I think that happens. I think there's a lot of delusion that happens, and I think it's a problem in wrestling is these guys who get over quickly and they have a moment and they don't understand that there's a difference in being hot for a couple of months and being hot for a couple of years like Roman.
Yeah.
There's levels to this shit, and Roman Reigns is on a different level. So your RK Bro that's your jam?
Yeah, I liked RK Bro. It was exciting for me.
RK Bro was good. They worked as a tag team. It might have felt like it held Randy back a little bit, but it did work as a tag team.
Randy.
We missed out on a good feud though, because Matt Riddle couldn't stay in the company long enough for Randy to come back from injury. I feel like we had a great rivalry between a returning Randy and a Riddle, depending who we wanted to make heel or whatnot. I had a lot of fan written dreams about that.
No, I agree. We definitely missed out on that. That should have. That's one of those things where that always scares me with WWE when they and that wasn't WWE. That was Randy getting hurt, unfortunately. But like, I always say it's like Rhea and Bianca. There's always a fear that like one of them goes to Hollywood, gets an X-Men movie or something, and they're gone, and we never get to see that match. We never get that opportunity. Same with like the way they held on to Jimmy versus Jay. They held on to it for so long that we got to WrestleMania, and then it was an afterthought.
Yeah.
So I wish,
sir.
I wish like with Randy and with Riddle.
I was just always excited to see it, so that's why I wanted to bring it back.
Yeah, I get you.
I'd be sad.
All right, Wavy D, what's your topic?
All right. My topic for you is we got Rey Mysterio, who is the greatest luchador of all time, greatest, Mexican descent wrestler of all time.
Okay.
He's my favorite wrestler of all time.
Okay.
Not favorite wrestler currently, but favorite wrestler of all time. Sounds like
Gotcha.
favorite wrestler. WWE has tried multiple times throughout history to recreate the next Rey Mysterio or the next coming of Rey Mysterio, and it's failed a lot. Whether it be Sin Cara, Alberto Del Rio, Kalisto, Andrade, Santos Escobar, Dragon Lee recently. What's kind of like the main reasons that you think WWE can't recreate the next Rey Mysterio, and who do you think came closest?
Ooh, okay. So the reason I think they can't reproduce Rey Mysterio is I feel they're always in a rush to get to the destination. And in order to build someone like Rey Mysterio, a luchador who is a larger than life character, right? He is one that you have to suspend belief in order to see him in the ring with like Brock Lesnar or Drew McIntyre. And it works. The argument always when I talk about size is everybody points to Rey Mysterio and I go, Rey did an amazing job throughout his career of being larger than life. The problem is with the Sin Caras, with the Kalistos. They get thrown in and immediately compared to Rey Mysterio, and they just don't have the resume to back it up. I feel like with the next coming of Rey Mysterio, it's got to be somebody who puts in the work. And the problem is like they started with Dragon Lee, and it's almost as if they don't get that immediate reaction that they're looking for, right? If the internet doesn't just immediately hail, this is the next Rey Mysterio, then they all panic and go, "Oh shit, we got to find another luchador. I don't think it's Santos Escobar. I don't think it's Andrade. It's gonna be a Dragon Lee, but they have to invest in the time it takes in order to get somebody like that over. They have to be willing to sacrifice. I mean, if you remember, Rey Mysterio had matches with the Big Show, and he had like you've got to sacrifice like an Omos in order to get one of these little luchador characters over. I don't think
it's Dom. Dom's the next one.
Well, I don't think Dom's going down that route.
I know. I'm being facetious.
I think that Dom made the smart decision at some point and said, I'm not going to be my father. I'm going to do this my own way, and that's benefited Dom tremendously. But I think that the reality is when I look at this, it takes investment, and in the day we live in, it does feel like, and Triple H is even guilty of this, of like if something doesn't get his immediate reaction, then they panic and they turn and they go the opposite direction. I mean, to create a baby face, because it seems like they're able to create heel Mexican characters.
Yeah. So
I Alberto
don't know
Del Rio and those guys. Go ahead.
The whole history of like Rey Mysterio. Like, where did he come from?
WCW.
Okay. And he's always been Rey Mysterio. Nothing else.
Yeah.
It's in some form or fashion.
He debuted at 14 or 16.
Yeah.
Since he was like 14 years old?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
He's been wrestling since 14 or 16. He started in San Diego, and he would travel over the border to Mexico on the weekends.
Yeah.
because his uncle was a wrestler. Rey Mysterio's original name was the Hummingbird, but in Spanish, however that translates to, I forgot what it was. But his
El hummingbird.
uncle was sorry, what was it?
She
El
just made up a
hummingbird.
word.
His uncle was Rey Mysterio,
Uh-huh.
and then eventually Rey Mysterio took on the moniker as Rey Mysterio Jr.
That's how
when
I
he was
remember.
wrestling in WCW, ECW, and then when he came to WWE, they dropped the Junior from his name.
Yeah.
From his mask back. There was actually a point in WCW for like 2 years where he wrestled without a mask.
I
He got
I did see
swag.
something one time where like somebody pulled off his mask. It was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he lost his mask in a WCW match.
Yeah. Was it Vince who made him take it off?
No, it was WCW.
No, I think it was like Kevin. I think it was a match with Kevin Nash.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, that's crazy.
I see what Mike says. Mike says that you can't recreate a Rey Mysterio based on how his career went. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is it for a guy like that to get over the way he did? It almost feels like all of the dominoes have to fall in place over a 10-year period. It's not. I just don't think like you get the thought that like Triple H thinks Ray's going to take the mask off and hand it to the next guy. And they just become. I mean, they almost the best bet is just to anoint another Rey Mysterio and try to use that name moving forward. I don't think it'll be successful, but I think that's their best opportunity. But Ray's been part of, major storylines. He was in NWO, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Like,
he was.
but he was just involved in all that shit, right?
Yep, and then the LWO and
Yeah.
WCW originally.
Yeah, he's just kind of had his hand. He's almost been like a sidekick in so many stories that he's built credibility off of Eddie Guerrero's and Big Show's and all these different people. And the World Heavyweight title did a lot for Rey Mysterio as well.
You're talking to a kid who the first time I saw wrestling, Rey Mysterio was the character I chose in the video game. Before I even knew what wrestling was, I was gravitating towards Rey Mysterio, Hurricane, and Ultimate Dragon just because of the mask that they wore. They looked awesome. And when I finally discovered wrestling on TV, all I could watch was SmackDown. The SmackDown was on Friday nights, and I curfew had to be in bed by a certain time on the weekdays. Couldn't watch Raw as a kid, so Rey Mysterio was the face of SmackDown as far as what kids love to see.
Yeah. Well, and Ray's always been, when they talk about putting like the John Cena and all the people on the napkins and the banners, Ray was always right there next to him.
Yeah.
He's a marketable character. He was always kind of in the. There's always been that like core five that WWE likes to have, and now it's Cody, The Miz, LA Knight's kind of where the birthday party package is what I call it, right?
It's party package.
It's the ones that are going to go on the birthday banner, the ones that are going to go on the side of the truck. And Ray always did well to, like Wavy D said, be featured. Even when SmackDown was kind of considered the B show, Ray was one of the features. And like Wavy D said, for a lot of kids and younger people, we didn't understand that there was an A and B show.
Yeah.
That was kind of a IWC like older people thing. Understood that the roster had been split kind of unevenly, and so for a lot of us watching, we were just like, hey man, Ray's running Friday nights,
Yeah.
or whatever night SmackDown was back then. It was still Friday, right?
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
The reason I asked you the question in the first place is I was scrolling through TikTok earlier today or yesterday. Some random podcast will upload a conversation about it, and they were saying the reason they thought Rey Mysterio or WWE never had a second coming Rey Mysterio was because first Sin Cara, he was speaking English, but him and people like that followed Sin Cara, like Alberto and Kalisto and all them, when they brought him to TV, they put him right next to Rey Mysterio, and that they were just living in Rey Mysterio's shadow, especially in their feuds and their segments and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that the first person who actually finally stepped away and kind of went against Mysterio is your boy Dominic and Alberto going the heel route.
Yeah.
Alberto had success until he started being a dirtbag backstage.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know that sitting, because I think Dragon Lee has everything that you need. I just think they have to commit. They can't start and stop. They can't, like, for a couple of weeks they had us like, all right, here's Dragon Lee. He's got a cool entrance, got the big dragon, and then it was like he's gone. He just disappeared. They pulled him from what was it, right after WrestleMania, right?
Yeah,
he just
LWO.
Yeah, I don't, and he's doing nothing. Is he injured?
Actually, I was curious about this, so I looked it up before the show. He was at the last Raw taping backstage, and apparently scheduled for a match with Ludwig on main event. I don't know if he wrestled or not, but he was backstage.
That's wild, though, right? That level, like, that's, to me, that's the problem. Is there's a little bit of this is the same thing I say for like Ricochet, because I honestly think Ricochet, you put a mask on Ricochet and he's your next Rey Mysterio.
He had one for a while,
and it's like it's this unwillingness to commit to. A little bit of it we could blame the IWC, I think, because they tend to bitch and complain when you get these like babyface characters that are very generic and they're gonna just win matches and they don't get these super interesting. It is okay just to have a babyface that is being built for the future, that is just winning mid-card matches left and right without these super intricate stories early on, and then to sneak them in to other stories and to start. One thing is, to me, I don't know how you feel about this, Wavy D. Wrestling doesn't feel like, you have the Judgment Day, but they don't feel like NWO. NWO felt like it consumed the entire WCW, whereas factions feel like such a small part of the overall picture these days. I think Judgment Day is the closest thing. I think Bloodline, their story, while it's big and overarching and controls SmackDown, it still only includes a very small inclusion of people to me.
Yeah, I think WWE is scared to go past that 3-person limit.
Exactly.
Sometimes, and they're stopping at that.
And I think they're afraid to. You said it with the Nexus. Like, the Nexus was some of the most fun television when it felt like Nexus was affecting everybody's matches. They had a hand in everything.
Which one was Nexus?
It was way before you watched.
Oh, okay.
It was a Wade Barrett group, then CM Punk took over. It
Okay.
was, but they were a group of like NXT guys who came up and kind of invaded, and kind of in the way that I want the Wyatt Six. They didn't really adhere to rules all the time. Mm-hmm. They just kind of did what they wanted.
So Tiffany Hoffman from TikTok wants to know if you guys are fans of the Young Bucks.
I had a 5 o'clock in the morning discussion about AEW this morning.
At 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, popped off in the Discord.
Dying.
Someone was mad.
At you?
Not at me particularly, but just was an interesting 5 in the morning conversation. But no, I try to make it clear when I talk about AEW. I don't dislike AEW as a company. Mm-hmm. I think that Tony Khan is a horrible businessman, and I think that the Young Bucks are extremely bad for professional wrestling when they are in a position of authority.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Watching the Young Bucks wrestle, I don't think they're not bad. They're not particularly over the top great to me either, because they do feel like that they watched the Hardy Boys and said, we want to be the Hardy Boys and we're just going to do what they do and continue that on. They never, to me, have established their own gimmick other than we're EVPs, but the EVP thing is slightly real.
Yeah.
I don't. How do you feel about them, Wavy D?
So to translate what Nary D said, in terms of your boy Wavy D,
yeah,
F the Young Bucks.
I mean, I don't want to just take a shit on AEW all the time, but they are the scum to me of AEW.
Yeah, she had asked me what I thought. I said no, I don't like them. But
I think that if you got rid of the Young Bucks and Tony Khan got his foot out of his ass, he could have the semblance of a good company. There are shiny things in AEW that would be fun to see wrestle but it's overshadowed half the time by other bullshit.
Those shiny
As
things
heels,
would be
do they
fun.
do their job right? Yes, but they hinder their company at the same time.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Like, do I hate them? Yeah.
Exactly. Mike asked, does Roman retire with no in-ring return if the last image is his hand raised in victory over The Rock? I don't think so, Mike. I don't think Roman... This has always been my belief, is I think Roman wants to walk both lines. And I think The Rock, after coming back for this last run, I imagine The Rock gave some advice to Roman Reigns that was, don't go all in on Hollywood, they'll turn on you. Like, keep 1 foot inside of the ring and 1 foot in Hollywood. I just don't think... While Roman has presence, The Rock is different. He's special. His charisma is on another level, so he can kind of like, you know, rub shoulders with Hollywood and they love him. I don't know. Roman gives me the vibes that he's just gonna buy in. Roman feels like he'll do a couple
Might ask
action
some
movies.
questions and stuff.
Well, he feels like he could do a couple action movies, but I don't foresee Roman doing like the Tooth Fairy and those comedies that The Rock can handle that made The Rock this huge Hollywood success. I think Roman will be the guy in a similar fashion to like a Brock Lesnar who can take 3 or 4 months off. He can do a movie and then he can reinsert himself right back into wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't foresee him as needing to be all the way into either company.
Yes, sir.
What was your question, Lauren?
So my question, you kind of started answering it, WBD, was I was just curious because, like, you know, I always want to know everything about everybody because I'm kind of nosy. But, like, what event or thing happened that got you interested, like, in wrestling?
Okay. The first time I ever watched wrestling on TV, I was at the YMCA Boys Club. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we were playing pool, playing video games or whatever. And then there was this big TV in the entertainment space. And I can't quite remember who the characters were, but I think it was Molly Holly after she got her head shaved.
Okay.
It was like a Raw following that where she had like really short hair and she was like destroying some other woman. And I was like, who is this like shaved head, like woman destroying this other woman on TV? And I was sitting there, I watched the rest of it. And then Raw at the time had a on Sunday, they would re-show the Raw from that week in like a half hour to an hour TV block. It was like a very fast forward version of Raw. And so we would watch that at the Boys Club, and then I found myself at home flipping through channels. Didn't know what the schedule was yet. I know that you had wrestling on Monday or a Thursday or a Friday. I would just 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, just scroll through TV. I'm like, okay, I guess there's no wrestling on tonight.
Yeah.
And then I eventually found the schedule, and I fell in love with it from the on.
That's crazy. So speaking of that, right? Isn't it so crazy that like there was no like TV guide? Like you used to have to like figure out when
Mike
things
asked
were.
if that was a Michael Jackson screech. Your sneeze.
No, that was just my sneeze.
That there was no TV
I think
guide.
it was
Yeah.
a smoke detector or something.
No, that was my sneeze.
No, I mean I kind of fell in the same way with not knowing the schedule. But my first introduction to wrestling was through when we would go on AAU basketball trips as a team. We would bring a Nintendo 64, and normally we'd play like NBA Jam. We'd play Madden. We play. All of a sudden, someone pops in WCW NWO Revenge.
Okay.
And at this point, I have no idea what wrestling is this thing. I know that it exists, but I don't know characters. I don't know stories. And funny enough, like we would play that game for hours and hours, and I learned characters and stuff through that. And then kind of like Wavy D, one night I go searching, and instead of finding WCW, I didn't understand at that point that there was a WCW and there was a WWE or WWF. I just knew there was wrestling. So I'm searching through the channels. I find wrestling, and it's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Ooh.
And I'm immediately like, oh shit. This is the greatest thing. This dude's shooting the middle finger. This dude's kicking people, this redneck ass motherfucker. And then it wasn't long after that I, was introduced to The Rock, and Mankind and The Undertaker. And so then I immediately became a WWF kid.
Yeah.
Which I invested all this time into learning Sting and Goldberg from that video game.
Yeah.
And it was quickly that the company who made that video game switched over and made WWE WrestleMania 2000. So that was my shit. That just aided my transition into like wrestling. Was now the same game is made with WWE characters, and that's kind of how I got into it. And then from there, I think my dad took me and my best friend Nathan to it was a live event. It wasn't a television taping because it was in the Freeman Coliseum, which is little. And I remember The Rock was the main event, and The Rock last match pulls the elbow band off, throws it in the crowd. Me and my friend Nathan had run up to the side. It hits my dad in the head. He goes to reach for it. The lady behind him pours a beer on his head, grabs it, and runs off.
Oh, man.
And so the whole ride home, me and my friend Nathan just were pissed off.
Yeah. I can just imagine like, oh, you little fuckers, like, what you're talking about.
Mike said he was thrown into it. He was taken to Over the Edge in Milwaukee the night Stone Cold vs. Dude Love happened with Vince as a special guest referee. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting way to get thrown into it. Mm-hmm. Hey, we're going. Come on.
That's just, who took him?
Who took you, Mike? You remember? I mean, I took you.
So
you talk about wild.
Well, what was it? The first wrestling event we had ever gone to, was that WrestleMania?
Yes, WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie.
Her first event. You talk about being a spoiled wrestling fan, right?
Well,
you was spoiled.
Yeah, the first time is New Orleans, WrestleMania 30.
I was excited to go to New Orleans. I was like, yeah, let's go. Bourbon Street. But I didn't know what was going on in the wrestling, and it really wasn't until, like, I saw Total Divas that then I saw who, like, the Bella Twins were and stuff, and I was like, oh, who are these girls? Oh, you mean they're on wrestling? Oh, I know them for that. And then I started getting into it. And then, I looked at it from a different lens.
So, Wavy D, yeah. We go WrestleMania 30, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, okay? Okay. The emotion that came out of people. I was, like, fucking stunned. She had no clue. No. She had no clue the gravity of the situation. She's like, why is everybody so upset about this?
I just looked at him and I was like,
she's like, that's Brock Lesnar. I'm like, no, that's The Undertaker.
But I was like, but that's Brock Lesnar. Like, what do you care about that other dude? Like, okay, he lost. Whoop-de-doo. But I think now...
Grown men cry that night.
Dude, yes.
Now I know.
Crying. I mean, that was one of... to be thrown in, you got thrown into, like, that was the yes movement.
I actually have a confession.
What's that?
I really fell in love with wrestling the minute I saw Randy Orton. I'm just kidding.
Dude, Randy Orton's a little downsy looking sometimes, man.
I know, I'm just fucking with you. But no, it really was the Total Bellas, though.
I can't remember.
But I wish I could go back. Like, if you talk about things we talked about things I could change in wrestling, I would go back in time and really understand, like, what I saw that night. Because it was a really, really, really cool experience, but I didn't appreciate it at the time.
Interesting.
Now, Lauren, you've been to a few shows. So you've seen what I would call most amazing display of joy and ambition and just like dreams come true is when you see a little kid go to his first show and they walk into the arena, you probably concessions, when you get a pretzel and you look over and you see this kid with his little John Cena Fruity Pebble shirt all decked out with the orange sleeves, and he's so excited, and he's like, Mom, Dad, I want to go to the seats, I want to see the match. Forget your beer. And my first wrestling show, I didn't know we were going to a wrestling show. My mom was like, hey, here's the outfit, put it on, we're going to somewhere. I was like, okay. And so we're traveling, we go to it felt like a long ride, me about 20 minutes away. And going to this place, I'm like, what's going on? What are we doing here? She's like, you'll see. And then we walk in the door. I'm looking around. I see a bunch of people. But it's not really clicking. I'm not making out wrestling shirts or making out merchandise stands. I don't see anything. I don't really get it. and then I see the curtain. The curtain that divides the concourse from the ring
Yeah.
and the seats and
Yeah.
everything. I saw someone walk past it. I see the curtain flip open, and I see a glimpse of the squared circle. I jumped out of my shoes, and I was like, Mom, are we at wrestling or WWE?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "What?" She's like, "Is John Cena gonna be here?"
Aw.
That's wild that both like you and Mike were like taken unknowingly.
It was a live event. It wasn't televised.
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Where's the fireworks?"
Yeah, yeah.
Where's-
That was my first thing. Was like, where's the screen and shit? Like
Yeah.
the stage. This doesn't
One-
look like TV.
One of my favorite events that we went to though was with our daughter, and it was a live event.
So I was
And
going to
it
ask you, how old was she when we took her?
She was 3.
So we took our little girl at 3, and yeah, just like you said,
had the
we bought her John Cena wristbands. She
a
had
tutu.
on tutu, and she had on the goat mask from the
She
Wyatt
loved the
family.
goat man. She loved
That was her outfit, and we bought tickets at the last minute, and I got front row for a live event.
Jericho.
And so she got to high five,
her.
and Jericho stopped and high fived her.
This close to Bray Wyatt, and I was so afraid. Like I was gonna touch him, and I was like, I can't do it. I'm so scared. And then I was like, I could have said, hey, what's up, Bray Wyatt?
Yep, could have altered the universe. It's like
Yep.
the butterfly effect.
Yep. Didn't happen.
All right, I got one more question for y'all before
cool.
before we. I mean, we don't have to get out of here, but I mean, one more question for the main topic of the show. 10 years from now, who's the face of WWE?
Oh, that's a good one.
Depends who you're asking.
You what?
Man
Depends
or
who you're
woman?
asking.
Both, man or woman? You can do both.
Woman, Tiffany Stratton.
You think so?
I think so. I think that she could build it up enough, and she has such a good personality. She just needs to build the confidence.
Now, what you're leaving out here is NXT people.
Yeah, I don't know enough about NXT people.
You've got Roxana Perez. You got Cora Jade.
But if they were that good, they would have been moved up already.
No, that's not true. They're young.
And she's not?
Who?
Tiffany Stratton?
I don't know. And compared to them, Tiffany Stratton's not a bad answer.
I think Roxanne might actually be younger than Tiffany.
I believe so.
I'm going to Google this.
If We Too Deep was here, he'd tell you Gunther he'll be facing WWE.
10 years? Ooh.
How old will Gunther be?
Gunther
be?
Gunther's pretty stiff. I don't know if Gunther has 10 years in him.
He's relatively young, right? Early 30s, maybe?
Is he that young?
28,
There's
29?
no way. He's got to be 36, 37.
I'll pull up the Google search real fast. It's crazy, but my Google search history is like
36.
How old is blank? Where is blank from?
He's 36.
Oh, he's that old?
Yeah, so he'll be 46 10 years from now.
Gosh dang. I mean, he's like 36 is old, but it's old as far as sports and wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. Wrestlers, I think, make it into
Tiffany Stratton's
mid
25?
40s, and then you start to see a decline. Certain ones, like Bobby Lashley and them, they've defied time.
Chris Jericho.
Jesus. Just Jericho's going to wrestle until he's dead.
Okay, so Roxanne Perez is 22 and Tiffany Stratton is 25. So there's a 3-year difference.
And Tiffany Stratton's not a bad answer. To me it just depends on how bad does Tiffany Stratton want it, because she kind of came in an awkward way, which means a lot of times if Hollywood calls that person, they dip.
Yeah.
Whereas like Roxana Perez is that like wrestling
Die
is life.
hard.
Yeah. Like that's
I mean, I don't know enough about her, so I don't know what her personality's like, but like, you know what I mean? I haven't seen her wrestle. I don't know who she is. Like, I know who she is, but I don't know who she is.
yeah, she didn't wrestle when we went to NXT, right? I believe she did. We went to Great American Bash. I don't think that was.
Oh, we did go to that.
Yeah.
We've been to a lot of wrestling things. I think we had listed them the other day, and I was like, dang, I didn't even remember we'd gone to that many.
You guys do live in a big wrestling city, relatively.
Yes.
Compared to other,
Yeah,
around the country.
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, because technically, Austin, Houston,
Well,
San Antonio, we could go to any
San
of those.
Antonio is
we
a
really went to.
big. So there's a lot of history for wrestling from San Antonio. I think this is where Bryan Danielson trained.
The Von Erichs, are
Shawn
they
Michaels, the Von Erichs were around. They weren't always here, but
Mm-hmm.
and then like you said, Austin's 45 minutes, so we can jump in the car and go to Austin
Yeah.
and see wrestling as well.
from here? Yes, sir.
Let's see. My future of the women's division, I think I gotta say Roxanne Perez. I think she has the passion for wrestling to be involved that long. She has the youth to be involved that long. She's the face of NXT right now. And roughly, she could have been called up the past 2-3 years if she wasn't too young. Like that was always a knock against her. Is she was ready in ring wise, but as far as being ready for W lifestyle and the grind and everything,
Mm-hmm.
she was only 20, 21 years. The
But
past couple
wasn't
years.
Paige like 18 when she got called up?
Not 18? I think she was 18 when she
She started wrestling, I think.
So how old was Paige when she got into WWE?
She's
Well,
still
Paige started
young.
wrestling at like 14, 15, I think, on the indie circuit over in England.
Gotcha.
But she was young. She was the youngest women's champion or something like that, or youngest divas champion. I
Yeah.
think she was like 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah.
Dang, Paige is only 31 right now.
Yeah, she was young. Someone who might rival Perez as far as face of women's division, low-key might be Thea Hale.
Interesting.
She's a energy like a she's a small like Tasmanian devil. She has the mannerisms, the characteristics. She's outgoing. Her character work is cool as far as like she's the ultimate baby face, and she had a short stint as a heel where she was doing some good stuff. It wasn't like over the top amazing, but she can play a heel character. But she's the ultimate baby face where she started wrestling at NXT at like 17, 18. Fresh out of high school graduation,
Who
she
was
started
it?
wrestling in NXT.
What was the name of the
Thea
person?
Hale, the one from Chase U,
Yeah.
the little one.
Oh, the little blonde girl.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I like her.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago. She was in graduating high school 2 years ago.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Paige was 21 when
she came to
she
WWE.
made her WWE debut.
Okay, which made sense. She won the title from AJ that night.
Yeah. I was just curious. I don't
I'm
know
gonna throw
why
a
I thought she
name
was
at y'all.
18.
I'm gonna throw a name out at y'all,
What?
and y'all tell me if I'm crazy.
Do it.
Jacob Fatu. He's 32 years old. 10 years, he'll be 42 years old.
You know what? I'm not going to hate on it because I was actually pleasantly surprised how he kind of stepped up to lead the bloodline when I thought like he was kind of doofy
You're talking
at
about
first.
Solo.
Wait, then who's Jacob?
Jacob is what you two refer to as the Wolverine.
Oh, the Wolverine. How old is he?
32.
Oh, he does not look 32.
No.
It looks like he's like 42.
Yeah, he's a grown man. That's a grown man right there.
Yeah.
He sees some grown things.
He's been through a lot.
He's seen things.
He's seen some things.
But I think I believe in 10 years, if this bloodline shit holds up and they keep running this as many different ways as they want to, I think he's the one at the end of the day when it's all said and
He's
done.
manly.
When Roman, when The Rock, when they start kind of heading off, I don't think it's Solo that takes the ropes. I think it's Jacob that takes the ropes out of this thing.
Yeah.
When
I
I'm
mean,
thinking, go ahead, Laura.
no, I was just going to say, yeah.
Well, when I'm thinking face of the company, I'm thinking Stone Colds, your Cenas, your Romans, maybe even Seth Rollins a little bit. I don't know if Jacob gets quite there.
As a heel?
But how often are heels faces of the business, though?
I
Is
mean,
Roman Reigns a hill?
that would be the argument I would make is not, I get maybe not the face of the company, but the ultimate bad guy, right? The bad guy to, let's say Braun Breaker ends up being the face of the company. Maybe it's Jacob that's the Lex Luthor to Superman.
Also, I think Jacob's promo skills are still questionable, just because he hasn't had a chance to do the promo yet. So I'm not quite sure what he has.
Mm-hmm.
And in the NBC, promo skills aren't really like the biggest push thing. From one A show to the next, there's not really much story building. It's kind of just putting matches together.
Yeah.
So Jacob's still questionable for me. This cat got me good. Yes.
It's Theory. It's definitely Theory.
Well, so Theory was on my list.
I mean,
to talk about.
I like Austin Theory. I know y'all hate on him, but I like him a lot.
So I don't dislike Austin Theory. I think he's been booked incorrectly.
He's got the look. He's got the personality when he had his phone.
The Vince McMahon booking of Austin Theory, while it annoyed some people, he was, at one point in time, he was one of the biggest heels in the company just from people straight up disliking him. But it worked. He was getting reaction from the crowd, especially when they kind of ran through. There was that series of time where Dolph Ziggler began attacking Austin Theory, and that was kind of the height of Austin Theory. And then they just 360'd, and they completely took Austin Theory's gimmick away, and he's never really recovered, because since then his character's just been kind of like, I'd say, like bumbling fuck.
And then they threw him with, what's his name? The other talk show guy.
Well, yeah, I just feel like that was, they didn't know what to do with either of them, so they were like, hey, yeah, go out there and be a tag team. And people responded and thought, like, all right, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Mike says R-Truth will be face of the company in 10 years.
Probably. He's fucking awesome. And he does not
Ruka's
age.
not a bad guess.
He'd be like, what, 63 years old?
Yeah, that's okay.
So you could Ric Flair it?
Mm-hmm. Woo!
You got, you got Cora Jade is somebody who... You got Lyra Valkyria.
Is that part of the Teeth Club?
No, she's the Raven.
The one who looks like Paige, right? Who I said reminds me of Paige?
And then you got like Drogonoff. We're not talking about Drogonoff. I don't think he's face of the company by any means, but he's another young one that I think... I mean, ultimately, I think it's Braun Breaker and Roxy.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Ooh,
Braun Breaker's young, right?
What's that?
I'll say an out there pick that I have might be Julius Creed.
Wait, also, okay, Mike Lee coming in here, Oba Femi.
Ooh, that's a good guess. That's good.
That's a good call right there. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Lauren. He's a beast of a person.
What's the name? Uba Fleming?
Obafemi. He's an absolute beast.
He's a Nigerian
imagine
professional.
Like Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley had kids.
Yeah, that's the greatest description. He said Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar had a child.
He literally just came up on my thing. That is the greatest description I've ever heard of this gentleman
that
right
man
here.
is a beast.
Or Brock Lesnar and Mark Henry.
Where is he from? Nigeria? Is that what it said? Did I make that up?
That sounds right.
That sounds right.
Oh my
god! The men is so hard to predict just because there's just so many people who just come through, and then so many people have potential. I think Julius Creed's my pick. I think he has all the physical traits, the wrestling moveset, the look. You know, as far as like your typical top guy look. Now he's got to see if he has the character work and the charisma to do it. But he has the intangibles and the moveset to do that.
Yeah.
And then you've got to play the game of, like, is it MJF?
Oh.
Is it? I heard he signed for a while.
Yeah, but 10 years is 10 years.
That's a long time.
10 years. If he signed for 5, he can make the jump.
We forgot Dominic Mysterio.
Dom.
Dirty Dom.
Man's only 27 years old.
I don't think Dom, from hearing him talk, because I watched a little bit of the Logan Paul, I think that I actually, like, after hearing him talk, I love everything Dom's about because he gets who he is. I don't think he'll be wrestling in 10 years. He kind of has the attitude of, like, I'm going to get what I got while I'm here, and then I'm out of here. I'm not hanging around forever. I think he watched his dad give his life to wrestling, and he's probably like, I can give it 5 good years, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Once he stops getting these storylines with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, and he starts, they start making him actually wrestle, he may not love it as much.
True.
Did you get a chance to watch MJF's interview with Wrestle Talk yet?
I've seen clips of it. I've not seen the whole thing. I saw him addressing like Britt Baker and stuff like that.
That might have been his other interview. I think he did two. I think he did 2 different shows.
Okay, so I saw the clips from where he was addressing Britt Baker.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that part.
Was he still mad about whatever happened?
He was just in that he was saying basically that the dirt sheets over-reported what happened, that he didn't go after her, he didn't punch the wall, that yes, he doesn't like her, but he's like, but I can not like somebody and still work with them and still admit that like they're gonna have a great match at All In. I mean, he understands media. We lost Wavy D. Wavy D's gone.
I see him. Wait, nope. All right. Get it in.
What did so someone in the chat said? There he is. He's back. We lost you for a second. So Isaac Delgado says, "Hey, Casual Wrestling Channel, watch WWE Payback full match, Becky versus Trish Stratus tomorrow morning." Where are we watching this? What does that mean?
I can't answer the comment.
he said, "Hey, Casual Wrestling, watch WWE Payback full match, Becky versus Trish Stratus tomorrow morning."
Oh, wait, is that the same bot that was here last show?
I don't know. No, this is a different name. Well, okay. We'll make sure that's a must watch. I think I've watched it before, but I'll watch it again.
KKK.
Not sure where I'm watching it either.
I do the New York Club.
Oh, so Nary D.
Yes.
I know you played football in high school. Did you play football in college too?
No, I didn't play in high school.
Oh, I thought you played in high school.
Basketball.
You played basketball in college?
Yes.
Okay. So here's a question I wanted to pose to you that I was thinking of earlier. Is that if WWE had an NIL kind of deal going on back when you played, do you see that as an avenue that you would have picked up to possibly go professional wrestling?
No. I don't think so. I've always enjoyed wrestling as a fan. I've never once crossed my mind that I would be. I'm not like I wouldn't jump off a ladder. I wouldn't jump off a top. Like I'm very grounded. I'm not. I don't do wild shit. I don't take risk. I'm not like basketball was my sport. I was focused on basketball. Outside of basketball, I got my degree in like audio engineering. So I always kind of had a plan. I don't think, I mean, who's to say, right? You get approached and somebody goes, "This is an opportunity for you," but I don't think so. I probably would have laughed at that point. I don't know. That's hard to say. I definitely wasn't into wrestling at that point in time. Okay. I kind of had my childhood wrestling experience, then my life became basketball, then post, adult life, I got back into wrestling.
All right. So when I was a kid, I had ambitions to be a wrestler.
Yeah, definitely.
When you wrestle with your buddies in the backyard, make belts and everything.
Yeah.
But then realistically, I knew I was like, I don't know if I want to be like a wrestler because I was like, at that point, I was still afraid of the Undertaker. I was like, I don't know if I can see myself in the ring with the dead man. I was like, so I told myself, I'll be the best referee the world has ever seen.
That's interesting. I tell people this all the time when it comes to sports in general, that like one of the greatest aspirations is to find an avenue like being a referee and be the best fucking referee that anybody's ever seen. That's much more obtainable than being a wrestler. Become a just great referee, and there's an avenue. I said, growing up at my size, I should have played fucking offensive lineman. But nobody ever sat me down and said you could make millions of dollars doing this versus.
School? Like, how do you?
Is there a referee school?
Yeah, like
I think most wrestling schools teach it, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And there's quite a few.
Go down the wrestling, referee, valet. They kind of train all three at schools.
Yeah, because I think there's probably quite a few wrestlers who get in there and realize quickly, oh, I'm not fit to be one of the main guys. Maybe I can be a referee. Maybe this is an avenue I can go.
Or even the build.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The build, like you get in there quickly and learn that like a guy who's 6'5" and 260 pounds just natural. I can't even fucking do enough weightlifting to get there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're 5'11" and built like the Young Bucks.
Yeah, that's exactly. Oh yeah, but that's the problem is now you can aspire to be the Young Bucks. You just fucking find a rich football owner. You can start your own company. Y'all got anything else?
No, think that's it for right now.
That's the questions I had for this week.
I'm sure I'll think of 30 million next time.
We'll write them down and we'll do some more.
I will, because I'll forget them.
I don't know if Mike's gonna be in the chat. Mike needs to bring his ass on the show. That's what I'm gonna say. I don't know what the hell he's doing from the chat. Turn his camera on. Come talk to us.
Oh, Lauren.
Yes, sir.
Before we end, to hear some more from you, what are your top 5 favorite WWE belt designs of all time?
So
interesting. Let's go.
I really like the Divas belt. I like Dustin has this world champion belt. I think that's what it is, right,
Which
Dustin?
one?
The big one, the kind of like.
You like the big gold,
the big gold,
the original world heavyweight, the WCW.
Right there, right?
Yeah.
I do like the new black belt that they have with the rhinestones, the one that we bought at, what was it, WrestleMania?
Do you like the gold version that they've converted it to, or do you like the black version?
I like the blacked out version.
Uh-huh.
I think that's better, honestly, in my opinion. And then I don't really know if I know any like other belts that I've just like.
You got the United States title.
Didn't Randy have his own belt?
I don't think Randy ever had a custom belt.
He just had side plates.
Randy's got like I think a custom commemorative belt, but I don't think he has his own belt.
I like that one. I'm gonna add
Very
that one
few people have had their own
onto
belt.
the list.
I'm thinking of the Edge belt, the Radar Superstar one.
Maybe, I don't know. I just saw one that I swear it said. Maybe I was looking online. And
so if you went to WWE shop, I think Randy Orton has like a commemorative belt, but it's never been on TV.
And then other than that, none of them just really stick out to me. So it'd probably be like those 4. But I really like the Divas belt. I don't know why they don't give the girls like a cute, pretty belt. I understand they want to do like, equality. We're both the same, whatever.
I think there was a stigma around that belt now.
Why?
That was kind of the model era belt where they were just like having model searches. They're like, fuck it, you're pretty. We'll put you in the ring and you'll figure it out. It
was a pretty belt, though.
It's down there at the bottom. I'm not going to grab it. But yeah, it's one of the more unique designs.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of the belts start to look the same to me, but those were just the ones that kind of stuck out in my mind. So,
level up. As we approach so it's weird to hear my echo. That's why I talk in rhythms. As we approach the highly anticipated launch of your reaction channel, what are your thoughts on having Low T on some videos with you?
Yeah.
We'll be canceled. I don't think you understand how this man talks.
That's why you give her their own channel, so it doesn't just unmonetize you.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
We're gonna put this together.
We have to filter ourselves.
Now he plays dumb on wrestling, but he has a little bit of a history with wrestling.
Yeah, like
so some of the stuff he'll recognize.
Mm-hmm. He definitely knows a lot more because he'll tell me about stuff.
But he definitely has some interesting nicknames for certain people.
Yes.
Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle Dingle Dangle, he calls him.
Yep.
So these are the type of things you'll get from Low T.
And some others.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He's definitely. It's got to be its own channel though. There's no way that goes on. We'll be cut off in a week.
Reported.
You censor it and you upload the uncensored version.
No,
okay, that's I get you. Yeah,
yeah,
with him it would just be beep. There wouldn't be.
The Patreon would go crazy.
Oh shit. But that's all we got for you guys tonight. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night for the Friday Night SmackDown after party. Monday we'll be doing another Raw post show. Tuesday Mike and D trying to get everything together to do a Wednesday podcast. I want it just to be more of like what I was thinking for Wednesdays is taking everything that's been talked about in Discord and then kind of summing it up and talking about it online so anybody who's not in the Discord can kind of see what's going on.
Ooh.
And pulling from like the wrestling and from like the food, the video games, the sports, having a little bit of everything in there.
Yes, sir.
That Discord gets spicy.
Yeah, it's 5 a.m. AEW chats, man. I'm just
I
laying
woke
there.
up to that. It was hilarious.
I'm just laying
I
there.
posted that 4.
It just bing. I was like, oh hell no! I gotta.
I'm jumping
address
in on this one.
I gotta address this.
Tap it in.
But that's all we got for tonight. The party never stops in the Discord. Like, share, and comment. Lauren, take us out with a final bell.
Ding 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 ding.